Like, not with Western. I think they have another,
All
they
right,
paid
hello
something
guys.
else.
I'll just ask that everyone turn off their mic for the session, but I'll just wait for everyone's audio to get connected here, and then we'll get started with the session today. All right, let's get started. Thank you for being here today. On behalf of Smart Dolphins, I'd like to welcome you to today's session on Outlook, Planner, and To-Do. My name is Matthew, and I am the marketing coordinator here at Smart Dolphins. Before handing it over to our trainer, I'd like to quickly share some information on our upcoming public webinars. On December 12th, which is next week, we have a meeting on Microsoft bookings, and then we'll be taking a break for the holidays, and we'll come back in the new year with some new exciting topics for you guys. Please visit our website for more information and to register. If you have any questions today, please pop them into the Q&A section here in Teams, and we'll tackle them as we go along. We'll also save some time at the end of the session to discuss and Q&A. There is a handout located in the chat. Please feel free to download that and follow along. I'd now like to introduce our trainer for today's presentation. It's a great pleasure to welcome Jolynn Reen. She is a certified trainer and Microsoft Master Instructor with over 30 years of experience. So without further ado, Jolynn, please take it away.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Matthew. And thank you, everyone, for joining us here today for a topic that I absolutely love, because we all need a little help on kind of getting organized with what our day is going to be like, or what our week or our month is going to be like. So these two topics, well, basically three applications that we're going to be discussing here today, which include our Outlook, Microsoft To-Do, and Microsoft Planner, are going to be essential tools that I personally cannot live without. So what I wanted to start with here today is I'm going to actually go to my Microsoft account online, because this is going to be one way to get started with these applications. It's not going to be the only way, and it's not actually my preferred way. I'll show you my preferred way in a moment, but just so you're aware, we can use all three of those apps going to our account. But they're all available also on your mobile device. So every app we're talking about today, Planner, To-Do, and Outlook, of course, are available on a mobile app as well. But I'm in my Microsoft account, and what I want to start with here today is Microsoft To-Do. So I'm going to go to my apps launcher at the top left of the screen, and I'm going to click on this icon with the blue check mark. That's how you can always identify it's To-Do. I'm going to open that app. So this is going to be one way for us to open this program. And how this works is on the left-hand side, we have a navigation pane. Whatever we click on from the left-hand side will display the information on the right. And I personally just went to this category called tasks, just so you know what I clicked on. So what exactly is this program called To-Do? To-Do is an app that's part of your 365 suite of applications that's allowing you to create tasks that are for you. So think of this program as your personal task list. So what's going to happen is this is going to be where you can keep track of the tasks that you need to work on. So we can come in here and enter everything that we have. So what I really want you to kind of start with today is in your mind to be thinking about how do you currently track what you need to do or what your team of people need to do. So if you're using a scratch piece of paper, you're using sticky notes, you have paper notebooks that you're using, I want you to really consider moving to one of these apps that we talk about today. So why would you use To-Do? Because this is an app that you can keep track of what you want to do. We'll get into the other app called Planner that is more for sharing task lists with other people. So we'll get to that one next. Now, I had mentioned that this is really not my preferred way to get into the application, but I could go to my Microsoft account and open it. How I usually use ToDo is through Outlook. Outlook is a very common way for me to get to ToDo. So if I'm in my Outlook, and just so you know, I'm in the newest version of Outlook, on the left-hand side, we have the blue check mark for ToDo. When you open it, it's going to be exactly the same as if I had used it through the internet browser. Okay? So on the left-hand side, there's two sections to the left. The top section changes what you see on the right-hand side to give you lists of the tasks you're working on. But some of these categories are actually filters. So I'll get to what that means here in just a second. But right now I'm in the category called tasks. You can see on the right-hand side I have 7 active tasks, but on the right-hand side is where you actually see the information related to my tasks, where I have my cursor blinking up at the top, where if I wanted to add in a new task, all I have to do is start typing it. Or if I want to go to an existing, I can click on it from my list, and I could open a window on the right-hand side to edit the details of that task. But let me add a new task in. So I'm going to go to the top where it says add a task, and I have a new task that I need to make sure that I work on. So what I need to do is put together a vendor list. So I'm just going to type vendor list and press enter. It has now added it to this list of tasks, but it's it's sorted right now based on due date. So it didn't come to the top of the list because I didn't put in a due date yet for that task. It's showing me my late tasks. My late tasks are also showing up in red. So if you see red in any of these applications, Planner or ToDo, it means that it's overdue. So you could see the due date for this Power Automate was 11/29. This blog on Power Automate was 12/2. So they're overdue, so it shows up in red. Quick, easy way for you to know. Also, there's a column here called important. We can select the star for a task and mark it as being an important task. So I can do that from here, or I can do it when I go into the details on the right-hand side. So I'm going to go to the task that I just created, which was called vendor list. When I click on that task, I get the details window on the right. So if you want to keep track of different information related to your task, this is where you can do that. On the right-hand side at the very top, on the very top right is that star icon also. So I could use the star from here to say that this is an important task. And I'm going to go ahead and click it so that it's going to be marked as important. But also in the middle of that kind of window over on the right, I can add steps. So if this task has multiple things that I need to do to complete it, I can enter in steps for it. So let's say that I need to review old vendor list, and we need to create a new workbook to track. I can just create a list of the individual tasks that are related to the name of the main task. And also on the right-hand side, I have this feature here called Add to My Day. I'll come back and talk about that in a second. I have a reminder option, which if you're like me, I need a reminder. I need a reminder that's going to let me know when do I need to start this. So I'm going to click Reminder, or I should say Remind Me, and I'm going to say pick a date and time from the menu, and I'm going to say I want to be reminded on the 10th of December, and I'm going to choose a time down at the bottom, and I'm going to say I want to be reminded at 2:30, and I'm going to click Save. Then I also have Add Due Date. So if this has a due date to it, I can add that in so I can keep track of that due date. So I'm going to pick a date that it's due, and I'm going to say it's due on the 23rd. I'm going to save that. This can be set up as a reoccurring task. That's what this repeat category would be for. But you also have categories. So if you're using Outlook categories, this is the same as any of the Outlook categories that you would have listed. So I'm going to choose this one so that it's categorized, just like you can do with your emails, your calendar, etc. And then also you can add a file. So if you have a file that is directly related to the task that you're working on, you can attach that file by just navigating to its location. And what I really like about having that capability is when I get my reminder, I can go straight into the task and I'm going to have all the information that I need to complete that task. So it's an awesome feature. So we also have add notes. So if you have some details, don't write them on a scratch piece of paper. Don't put them on a sticky note or a notebook someplace. Keep them right with the task itself. I know sometimes once I transitioned over to an electronic task list like this, I still had some notes that were kept other places, and it's like, why am I doing that? I want everything in one place. So I started adding all my notes in here. You can continue to add to this as you need. When you're done, at the bottom of the right-hand side of the screen, on the left-hand side of this little pane on the right, is an icon for hide the details. So if you don't need to see the details anymore, you can just click that icon and it will close that window, just so you know you could. You can keep it open because then every task you click on, you'll see those details. But if you don't need to see it, you could hide it. But back to the task list itself. Everything that we have been doing so far, I've just showed you here in tasks. At the top of this, we are in what is called a view called grid, but there is another view called list. The difference between the two is the grid view gives you columns of your details. The list view gives you the details underneath the name of the task. So it's really a personal preference as to which of these views do you want to use. I kind of like grid view personally, but it's totally up to you, just so you know you do have a choice of how you see that. But back to the left-hand side for a minute, there is this category called important. If you star a task, to mark it as important, it's going to be in this filtered list. So it's looking at all of your tasks, and any of them that you said were important are going to show up in this filtered list. So it's the same task coming from the other list, but it's just displaying the ones that are important. You can see the importance column. So if I have a task that is not important anymore, I could simply just click the star for that task and it will remove it from being in the important list. So they can always be added and removed at any time. This to me is a great way to say, okay, what am I going to do today? So for me, my habits are when I come in or I log in on my computer in the morning, what happens is I look at my calendar to see what do I have on my schedule for today. And if I see that I'm going to have some free time, I could go here and see what do I have to work on? What do I have that's overdue? What do I have that's important that I want to focus on completing today? On the left-hand side, there's another category I want to talk about that I spend a lot of time on, and it's called planned. If I click planned, this is going to give me a list grouped together by dates. And this is usually where I go in the morning, is to this planned category, because it will show me overdue tasks, but it's also going to show me what do I have that I scheduled for today? What do I have for tomorrow? What do I have for next week, for later than that? Because of the way that it's organizing these, I can see I have this category here called earlier. And if I click on that, it's going to display all these different tasks that are actually overdue. So you can see in the due date column, they're red. So these are all tasks that are overdue. From there, though, you would be able to go into the details for any of these tasks. If you needed to change the due date, like I have this one here called Hire Now for Warehouse. If I go to that due date column, I can change this due date. So let's say that, yes, it was due in November of 2023, but now it's actually due January 1st of 2025 or whatever the case is. I could be navigating through this calendar and choose a different due date, just so you're aware. So I'll say it's actually due on the 19th of December. It's no longer going to be in the earlier category. It's going to be in the category based on that particular time frame. So just so you know, things will move to their respective areas, which is great. But one of the reasons I really like this view is, and you might be wondering, why are there more tasks here than there were when I went to just tasks? Because tasks is just my private tasks that are just for me, that I created here in ToDo. All of these other tasks are my tasks, but some of these are actually coming from Microsoft Planner. Okay, so that'll make more sense here by the time we're done with our session today. So if you notice that there was more tasks now than there was before, that's because some of these are coming from Planner, but they're my tasks because I was assigned to them. So what I like about this view called Planned, what it's doing is filtering the tasks that have dates to them. So these are tasks that have due dates, that we need to be aware of those due dates. If I have tasks that, don't really have a due date, I just need to do them whenever, I don't always need to see them. Right now, I want to focus on what should I work on today. I looked at my schedule and I have time, I have an hour and a half today that I could be working on these tasks. So I could look at earlier to see if there is a task that is overdue that maybe I could finish up today. What I can do is select the task. So I clicked on this competitive analysis, and on the right hand side, I'm going to click on where it says add to my day. I'm going to add that task to be part of my day, which means I can filter my list to just see the tasks that I want to work on today. Matthew, did somebody have a question?
Yeah. Someone noticed that the view in Outlook is different than if you access it through Microsoft Teams. They're wondering what is the preferred way to access Planner? Maybe best practices when accessing Planner.
Well, I'm actually not in Planner right now. I'm actually in ToDo.
Right.
ToDo is only going to give us the two view icons. If you are in Planner, which we'll go into in a few minutes, Planner will be multiple views. Okay, Planner has more views than ToDo.
Okay.
ToDo is a different app, but they work together. And we'll see that here in a minute when I go into Planner.
All right,
but
more to come.
Thanks. So right now you can actually see, though, that I'm looking at some tasks coming from Planner, because not every one of these tasks is just in my ToDo. But ToDo is only for me, this ToDo app. Nobody else has access to the tasks that I add to my ToDo. But this planned category that we have on the left is looking at my tasks and the tasks that I've been assigned to from Planner. Planner app is for sharing a task list with multiple people. ToDo is just for you. Okay? So when I add, so I just went to a task and I added it to my day. What that does is adds it to the left-hand side. And I'm going to click on the category here called My Day. My Day is only going to show me the tasks that I personally went out and said I want to work on today. I want to work on today. Okay? So just so you're aware, this is a way to focus on just the tasks you want to do today. Instead of looking at 50 tasks, we want to just focus on the tasks we're going to work on today. So this My Day will become a very important part of using ToDo, Planner, and Outlook, because I'll show you how it's available in all three programs. Matthew, did we have a question?
Yeah, we do. Someone is asking if they can select all the earlier tasks at once and then delete them all at once. They have a lot of outdated activities they want to get rid of and start fresh.
So if I go back to tasks as an example, on the left-hand side, just so everybody's aware of how different things that you could do. In this view that I'm in right now, I could go and say I'm done with the task by clicking the icon on the left-hand side. So if I go to the left and I say I'm done with it, it removes it from this list, but it's not removing it permanently. It brought it down to this completed category. So if I go to this completed, I can see all of the tasks that I finished. Come on. If I go to this completed, there we go. I can see all the tasks that I have finished. Now, just so you know, if you go to a task, we can actually manage a task. And by the way, there is this eye icon. This eye icon over here on the right-hand side, you could see that this is actually where you could open and close the details of it, the task as well. But we can't, so right now I'm selected on this task. If I want to select multiples, your easiest way to do that is I was selected on the first one, I held my shift key down and clicked on the last one. So whichever from here through here that you want to select. And then notice on the right-hand side, I can do this delete icon. I could do delete tasks.
There we go.
So the shift key can be the easiest way to select all of those.
Would you be able to do those with your active tasks as well?
Yes.
The same way.
Yep,
Easy.
same way.
There we go.
Yep.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Shift key. Okay, I'm just going to shrink this category back up again because I don't want to delete them. I'm going to keep them, but just so you're aware of that. So back to the topic of My Day. I can't live without this new feature called My Day. It's relatively new. So if I go back to My Day, these are the tasks that I want to work on today. What's going to happen is at the end of the day, this clears itself out. If I had tasks in here, they are still available because they're still in my task list, but they're not going to be in My Day because it's a new day. So tomorrow, I start with a blank again. I go to my task list and say, okay, these are the tasks I'm going to work on today. I'm going to click add to my day. So it shows up here. So these are the ones I'm going to focus on. I don't have to see all 50 of them that I have going on. These are the ones I'm going to work on. So I hope that makes sense. But back to the left-hand side again. I also have this category called Assigned to Me. If I choose that one, this changes the task list that I'm going to see. This is actually tasks that are coming from other plans. So somebody went out, or myself, went out to Microsoft Planner and assigned these tasks to me. So if I click on any of these, like clear the ground, on the right-hand side, my details window is different than it was if it was a private task of mine. It's giving me a link to get directly into the plan it's related to. So this is coming from Microsoft Planner. Now, if you stop and think about this, this is actually pretty cool. So when you think of your Microsoft 365 suite of applications, they all work together. So ToDo works with Planner, and they both work with Outlook. So everything is one big happy family together, so to say. So anyway, you can see that it's clearly coming from someplace else. And by the way, notice that it also says open in Teams. I'll get to that in just a second. Okay. So anyway, just so you can see, this clear the ground was coming from this risk management plan. Okay. Which is a planner that is shared with other people. The reason I'm seeing it is because it was assigned to me. That's why I have it. Just so you know. So that's a great option to have. So when we see these categories on the left, if you want to see everything that you are assigned to do and your private tasks, go to planned for date related tasks. If you just want to see your to-do tasks, go to tasks. But there's another category I want to talk about, and that's actually called flagged email. This is going to give you, on the right-hand side, if you're in your email messages, before I go to that, Matthew, let me get your question.
All right. Yeah, someone was wondering how do they get the, someone's wondering how do they get the sidebar to pop out in the assigned to me section.
In the assigned to me.
I think in the past, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, okay, now I get it. Sorry.
Yeah.
So if I'm in the assigned to me, how we get that details is click on the task. So click on the name of the task, and on the right-hand side, it will open this details. Okay.
Perfect.
Or the other option is to hesitate on the task, click on that circle with the eye. That will do the same thing. Okay.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thanks, Jillian.
Okay, you bet. So back to this flagged emails category, what this is referring to is if you go to your emails and you flag an email, I don't know if you guys are flaggers or not, but I flag emails all the time. I'm marking it as a to-do item. So it's going to be available here. It's also available in Planner, which I'll show you in a minute. But if I need to go back and see that email, here is that email. And you could see on the right-hand side, I actually have the details for it when I select that. So this is an email that I flagged earlier. You could see it's overdue. I haven't said that I completed it yet, so it's staying flagged. If I mark it as complete, the flag goes away. Okay, and you need to do that because I remember when I first started flagging, I didn't realize I had to mark them as completed. So I had like 50 different things flagged, even though I was done with them. So you need to have the habit of marking them as complete. So you could do that in the email itself, or you could do that here or through Planner. But on the right-hand side, you can see the details for that flagged email. I could even open it through Outlook email, even though I'm in the app called ToDo, because Outlook and ToDo are together, but so is Planner. So just kind of showing you that this is the actual email on the right-hand side as well. The bottom part shows me the actual contents of the email. So we have a lot more capabilities than we used to have in the old task feature. So if you ever use the old version of Outlook where we had tasks on the left-hand side, the new version of Outlook doesn't have that. They all transitioned over into ToDo. We have more capabilities, and the integration with our other applications is fantastic. So much better than we ever had in the past. They were trying to have that old task program work like we now have with ToDo and Planner. And it just didn't do things very good. The apps we have now are wonderful. So anyway, that's that top section of kind of navigating these tasks, but there's more on the bottom. On the bottom of mine, I have a group of tasks called HR Insurance. I have one called Marketing. And inside the marketing, I have 2 task lists that I created to help me organize the tasks that I'm working on. I have one called Billboards and one called Social Media. If I click Social Media in the right-hand side of the screen, it's going to show me the tasks that I have added to that list called Social Media. So I can create a list by going to the left-hand side and clicking where it says New List, giving it a name, And then I press enter, and I now have a new list that I can go to the right-hand side and I can add in the tasks related to that list name. So get bids for repairs, replace fence. I can just sit there and type in all the details of the tasks related to the name of this list. So if you have a bunch of tasks that are related to each other, you can put them in a list. And we could drag and drop things in between. But sometimes you might have multiple lists that are related together, like I have for marketing. So for marketing, I created a group. By going to the right-hand side of New List, I clicked this plus sign for Create Group. I gave it a name, and then I can put these different lists inside the group. So if I have multiple lists that are related to each other, they can go in a group. This is a way that we can organize all the tasks that we have going on. These are your personal tasks, not tasks we're sharing with other people. Now, I created this FEMA Florida, and I want that to be part of HR insurance. I can click and drag this group up to HR insurance, release my mouse, and it's now a part of that group, HR insurance. Or I could drag it down to marketing or wherever, just so you know things can be clicked and drug around to reorganize. So this application includes a few details that when we click on a task, we just get the choices that we have on the right-hand side. We're a little limited on the views that we have up at the top, but this is really more of your personal task list. Matthew, did we have a question?
Someone is wondering, is it possible to have a more detailed status for each task? For example, a waiting for section, a delegated, an in progress. Is that an option?
I wish we did, but not here. In the to-dos, we don't have that capability. But in Planner, we have more options. Let me show you what I mean. Now, just to kind of backtrack for just a second. I came into To-Do by going to Outlook. On the left-hand side, I clicked the To-Do icon. But I also showed you that I could go to the internet, log into my Microsoft account, and have access to To-Do. It's the same exact program, just different ways to access it. I even have it on my phone. I could go into it on my phone, just so everybody knows that. But let's go to Planner. Planner's the same way. I can access it from multiple different locations. So I can be here on the internet, go to my Microsoft account, I can do my apps launcher, and I can click the icon here for Planner. Planner is created to share task lists. It's going to have more details. It's going to have more views that we can use. But when you come into the application, what you're going to see is on the left-hand side, I have my day. My day is connected to To-Do. It's also connected to Planner. So these are the same tasks that I just showed you back in To-Do when I went to my day, because it's so important for us to know, what do you need to work on today? I don't have to just go to To-Do to know it. I can do it in Planner as well. I'm seeing the names of the tasks, and then under the plan, private task means it was a personal task of mine from To-Do. But this task is coming from my new employee task list. This is coming from my project brief. So I can see these two are coming from a plan in Planner, but this one's coming from To-Do. But they're integrated together. Now, I love my day because remember, it's going to clear out at the end of the day. But I'm going to go back to Outlook for just a second, because if I'm reading my email messages, I'm in my email, I'm reading my email messages, and I need to know, what am I working on today? I don't have to go back to To-Do. I don't have to go to Planner. At the top right of the new Outlook, I have an icon called My Day. And it's going to show me up at the top, I can go Calendar. I can see my calendar. I can click To Do and see my to-dos. It's going to show me what I added to today and my next upcoming tasks. So just so you know, you have the capability of doing that through email. Well, no matter where you are in Outlook, you can do that. You have that icon at the top. Even if I'm in my calendar, it doesn't matter where you're at. I use that all the time. I think that's a fantastic tool in the new Outlook. But anyway, back to Microsoft Planner. I personally opened this from the internet. It's an app all on its own, or it can be used through Microsoft Teams. So I'll show you Teams in just a second. But how does this work? Well, on the left-hand side, I had My Day, which is going to limit what I'm seeing to just the tasks that I added to my day. If I click My Tasks, I have different categories on the right-hand side. I can click All to see every task, regardless of if it's coming from Planner or it's coming from To-Do. So when I look at the plan, here's my flagged emails. So here's something I need to do that's from my flagged emails. Here's some that are coming from my private task, which is To-Do. But otherwise, these are all coming from planners. These other ones are coming from planners, just so you're aware. On the left hand, or I should go back to the top for a second, there's also a filter just for private tasks. I don't have to go back to To-Do to see the tasks that I entered in To-Do. I can click private tasks. These are all the tasks that you saw when I was in To-Do and I went to tasks. I can even add new ones in. I don't have to go back to To-Do to do it. I say the word to a lot. Also, I have a filtered category at the top for assigned to me. This is going to limit the tasks just for the ones that were assigned to me coming from other plans, multiple plans. So I have a lot of plans. You might not have this many, but mine are used for training purposes. And then I also have the category to filter to just show the tasks that were flagged emails. So I don't have to be in To-Do. I can do that here in Planner as well. Love that capability. But on the left-hand side, I have this category here called My Plans. What this is referring to is a list of every plan I'm a part of. Even if I didn't create the plan, if I'm assigned to a task in the plan, I will have access to it from this list. The plan could have been created from SharePoint. The plan could have been created through Teams, or the plan could have been created directly here in Planner. Because we have multiple places we can use this application called Planner. So what exactly is a plan? Well, as you can see, does this look familiar? FEMA, Florida. I just added that. If I click on it, here's those two tasks that I added from the list back in To-Do, just so you know. I'm going to go to the top straight up from this and click My Plans again to bring me back. If I click this New Employee Task List, it's going to open up the plan related to that. So anybody that is a member of this plan can be assigned a task, just so you know. When I look at this list, up at the top, I have different views. If I click Grid, this is columns and rows just like we saw in To-Do. If I click Board, we didn't have this view back in To-Do, or Schedule or Charts. What the Board view is giving us is little cards showing the tasks. And the tasks are organized in buckets. So when you start a default blank plan, you just have the To-Do bucket. but we can create these other buckets to organize our task lists. So if I have a bunch of tasks that are going to be part of phase 1, I can go under this bucket called phase 1, click add task, type in what the task is going to be. So we need to have new marketing for new hires. I could then go back to that task. I pressed enter after I put in the name. I could always click back on that task, and I have this full window of all these different details. Up at the top, I could assign the task to someone, which I could have done back in the main window too, but I can only assign it to somebody that's already a part of it or that's part of my domain, my network. I'm going to say I want to assign this to myself. So I choose my name, and now I'm assigned to that task, and whoever you assign is going to get an email notification letting them know that they were assigned to that task. It will, in the email, they will get a link to be able to get to the plan. But the plan will, of course, be available through Planner, and any task they're assigned to will be available through Planner and ToDo. But just so you could see, I could choose a different bucket. I could do a progress, or I can do a priority. So we don't have deferred waiting for someone like we used to have in tasks in Outlook. We don't get those same exact choices. We only get these. But at least it's more than what we had in ToDo. ToDo didn't give us these options, but I really like the capability of having priorities. So just so you know, these are going to be what your choices are. But we also have, when does this task need to be started? When is this task due? We can type notes, and we have a checklist. So if this new marketing for new hires, I have multiple things that I need to do to complete that task, I can create a checklist, which is similar to the steps that we did back in ToDo. So let's say that I need to talk with social media group. I need to create a report. All the things that I need to do to complete this task, I can enter the individual details. I could attach a file, and I had the notes area, but I also have commenting. Commenting is great because we can have a conversation about this task with other people that have rights to this plan. When I'm done, I go to the top and just close that details window. Matthew, did you have a question?
Yes, someone was wondering, how do we create categories for tasks in ToDo?
Yes, so back in ToDo, let me go back there. Back into Outlook, we have categories that can be assigned to any email, any calendar, just by simply going to categories. From here, so I'm in my email, I went to categories from the ribbon. I can go into manage categories, which will allow me to take the colors. So this is part of settings. So I could have gone to the gears icon at the top right and done this. But this is going to show me all the colors that were originally assigned, and I could do the pencil to edit their name. Or I could create a new category. So if I want a brand new category that I'm going to be using, I could then choose a color for that category and click Save. That category will now be available in ToDo because it's connected to the Outlook categories. So now if I go to ToDo, if I'm working on a task, I have my category option over here. I'll delete that category. I now have new category that I could assign to it.
Perfect.
But just so you know, it's a little bit different back in Planner. So if I'm in the details for Planner, I don't have a category. I have a label. For some reason, they gave it a different name. It's the same concept, but it's a different name. Instead of category, they're calling it a label. I can then click, and notice I'm getting colors just like with our categories in Outlook, and I can change the name of that color by doing the pencil. Now, how I use this, just so everybody knows how I would use this, is what if I have a bunch of tasks that are going to be, the HR department is responsible for those. I could edit this purple one and call that HR department. And then every task that I want to have that is related, sorry, I clicked off there. Let me change that. I keep moving my mouse. Sorry, it's me, not the computer. There. Sorry. So now that purple is called HR department. And if I choose that to be a category for here, I want you to see what it does. I'm going to close this. Now you can see that category at the top of this card, of this board view. So I know that the HR department is responsible for this task. So each task can have a different category, however you want to use them, but they're called labels and they're not linked to the categories in Outlook. Matthew, did you have another question?
We do have another one. Someone was wondering, if you add someone to the plan, it says you add them to the group. Does that mean a new channel or chat group is created, or does it just create a group in the planner?
It creates a Microsoft group, and groups allow you to have a shared calendar and a shared email. So it's a group of people that are using the plan. So if I go to the top right when I'm in this plan, go to the top right, I could click share. It shows me all the members of this group. Now these, just so you know, these people actually came from SharePoint. These members, because this particular task list, this planner, came from SharePoint. So it's holding the permissions of everybody that was a member of the SharePoint site. It automatically translated it over here to Planner. But just so you know, what if I create a new plan? If I create a brand new plan, I'm the only one that's in it until I share it or assign somebody. Let me show you what I mean, because this could be where that person saw this. If I go to the left-hand side at the bottom and I click New Plan, I have these templates that I could use to get started with a plan, or I could start from basic. Now, just so you know, I have a extra license. So Planner comes with your 365, but I have an extra license for premium because I use Microsoft Project. So I could do a premium as well, where I could do hierarchies, WBSs, create relationships and stuff. But I'm just going to say I want a project management plan. I'm going to click Use Template. I'm going to give it a name. Project. I'm going to say Project Job Fair. I could click to add this to my favorites, my pinned category on the left, and I could add it to an existing group if I wanted, or click Create. I'm just going to click Create. It's going to create this new templated task or planner that it automatically gave me buckets to organize my tasks, and it gave me tasks that I could go in and modify, or at least gives me some things to get started with.
Right.
But the thing about this is, what if I go to a task and I want to assign this to somebody? I'm the only one in the list. But what if I want to assign it to my coworker called Student 1? They're a non-member right now. If I click their name, this is where the message is going to come up and say, before you assign this task to someone, the plan needs to be shared with a group. I'm going to say add a group. The group needs to have a name. It's going to be the same name as the plan. I'm going to say create group. Now as I share this plan with others or assign others, they will be added to that same group. So we're a group together. We're working as a team together. So just so you know, that person just got emailed letting them know they were added to the group and they were assigned to that task. So they got notifications and they have links to get into the plan, just so you're aware. So if I assign that Student 1, I can close this and they're now assigned to that task. Okay. So we have different ways that we can start a plan. It can start from scratch, or we can start from a template. You can add new people by going to the top right and clicking share. You can add new people at any time. So if I go to this add member, I can add other people at any time, just so you could see. Okay, Matthew, do we have another question?
We do. Someone wants to know, do you not recommend using Planner as one person who manages multiple small projects, or do you just recommend it solely as a collaborative thing?
It depends on what they're going to do, because if you're going to be assigning, Planner is what you would do. If it's just your personal tasks, you're supposed to use ToDo. Supposed to. But if you want to be able to take advantage of having a start date, a finish date, priorities, those kind of things, then you could use Planner. But Planner is clearly built to work with multiple people.
Right.
Okay. You could use the lists and the groups in ToDo, just so you know.
There you go. Perfect.
But I wanted to show you how I can use Planner directly through Microsoft Teams, because 99% of the time when I want to work with Planner, I do it through Teams. So I just opened up Microsoft Teams, and on the left-hand side, I'm going to go to the ... for more, view more apps. I'm going to choose Planner. I'm now in the Planner app. If I want to keep that on the left-hand side, I can right-click the icon, pin it, so that it's always going to be there. And this is how I use it every day. So I can go into my day, just like I did through ToDo and the Planner app online. I'm going to see the same things. If I go to my tasks, same things. My plans, same things. Here's that project job fair that I just did. If I click it, I'm back into it just like if I were in the online one. It works exactly the same. So I just prefer it's easier for me to get to it, to get to the application by having it here in Teams, because I'm in Teams all day long. But I also can be using a planner through a team in Teams. So I have the newest version of Microsoft Teams. So if I go to my chat, I have my list of my teams. And if I go to this accounting department team and I go to my channel called accounts payable, I have a task list called AP tasks. It's Planner. If I click on it, it's Microsoft Planner. Everybody that is an owner, member, or a guest of that team has access to this. They can be assigned to the task. They're already being shared. It's already shared with them automatically. So the reason I do it here through a channel is because if I'm collaborating with other people in a team, because we want to be able to share files, we want to have a form we're all working on, we have all these other things, we can also have a shared task list for that channel as well. So all the tasks in here are going to be directly related to accounts payable. Now, this is all generic information, but just so you can see, I have my views at the top. So I can go to grid view, get the list. I could go to board view and get the little cards and see the separations of the buckets. I have schedule view, which is a calendar view of all of my tasks. I also have a charts view. The charts view is great for everybody, but especially for the person that's responsible for this entire task list, usually the one that created it, but others can use it as well. And what this does is it gives you like a dashboard look at what's going on inside your project, inside your planner plan. It's kind of like a project plan. So I have a status, I have based on buckets, I have priority, I have tasks based on members. Notice all the red because those are overdue. So We always have red that will stand out so we know something is overdue. If I go back to board view, by the way, any task that is overdue will have the date in red at the bottom of the card, at the bottom of the board, just so you could see that. So I have a lot of overdue tasks. If I completed this task, I can go to the circle, click on it, and it marks it as complete. It's not gone. It just removed it from this view. Just like in ToDo, I have a completed category. Task can be deleted like we did in ToDo. They work the same in that regard. But I got to tell you, I cannot live without ToDo and Planner. They are, to me, the best thing that has happened to Microsoft 365 because we need to be organized on what we need to take care of. And I don't want scratch pieces of paper, notebooks that I'm typing things in and nobody else can see that. With a planner that's being shared with other people, if I happen to call in sick for a couple of days and that task needed to be worked on, somebody else can actually go into it. They have access to it because it's shared with everybody that is a part of that team. Or if I'm back in the regular app for Planner, these can be shared as well. So not just through a team, we have members here as well so that we can assign those members to the tasks. Okay, so Outlook has notifications that will come from ToDo, reminders. We have notifications that are going to come from Planner. The big difference between Planner and ToDo, ToDo is for you, Planner is to share with others. And it has more capabilities. It does work directly through SharePoint and Teams. And just to show you this SharePoint connectivity with this, so right now I'm on the internet. If I go to a SharePoint site, if I go to one of my SharePoint sites, this happens to be a team SharePoint site. On the left-hand side, by default, because it's a Teams SharePoint site, I have a task list. It's Planner. So automatically for this clinic SharePoint site, we have a planner assigned to this automatically. I didn't even have to create it. I don't have to set up members because everybody that has rights to this SharePoint site has rights to this planner. So it's maintained through SharePoint. So SharePoint has planner integration, Teams has planner integration, and Planner integrates with Outlook and with ToDo and other 365 apps that we don't have time today to cover all. But Matthew, I'm going to take it back to you.
Awesome. We actually have one last question before we close up today.
Okay.
Someone wants to know maybe if you could demonstrate or just explain the advantages of Premium Planner compared to the free version. They're considering getting those extra options for their organization.
I would love to. So
right.
I just happened to come back into, I went to Outlook. I meant to go to Teams. Let me go back to Microsoft Teams. I have a planner that is a premium one called New Office Building. The big difference between a regular plan and the licensed copy is that you can have a true WBS, a work breakdown structure, because there it goes, because we can have summaries, indent tasks, we can have relationships from one task to another. Up at the top, I have more views. If I click timeline, that's going to give us our Gantt chart view. So this task, framing, is connected to flooring. I can't start the framing until I complete the flooring. And I can actually see that here in the Gantt chart. It's got a dependency of finish to start. It allows us to do lag and lead. We have other capabilities as well, but that's going to be your biggest difference is we have the ability to create a true hierarchy, a WBS.
Wow, nice.
And we give extra views.
Yeah, that
we get
seems
some
like
of the same, but okay.
That seems like a major advantage for sure.
It is 100%. I love it.
All right. Well, if there are no further questions today, we'll wrap it up for the day. Thank you, Jolynn.
Absolutely.
For any training-related questions, please feel free to reach out to us at training@smartdolphins.com and visit our website to catch up on our upcoming events. For any other business inquiries, please contact us at info@smartdolphins.com. We'd really appreciate it if you could take a moment to leave us a review on Google, whether that's for the webinar or your experience with us. It's a huge help. Simply click the link in the chat to access our review page. Your support helps us reach more people and empower them with the tools they need. Thank you again for joining us today. Here's a quick reminder of our upcoming events. Microsoft Bookings is next week on December 12th, and then we'll be taking a break for the holidays. We'll be coming back in the new year. Please visit our website for details and registration. Thanks again, everyone. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Bye.
Thank you, Jolynn.
You're welcome. Bye.